Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody is having a good Sunday morning. I'm a little late today. It's 11:50 here, and I had a few little odds and ends that I had to do this morning, so I didn't jump on right away. So I'm going to give everybody just a hello, Miguel. I'm going to give everybody just a second to jump on so that we've got a few people here watching. And of course, if you are seeing it live, I'm so glad you're here with me this morning. And if you're not, you know that you are probably watching it either on the replay on Facebook or you're either watching it on YouTube, because Paul has set up a YouTube channel for us, and you can go there and see that. So guys, I want to tell you something. I was really kind of at a loss. Hi, Amy. I was kind of at a little bit of a loss. Hello, Angela. And I'm not going to stand here and read all you guys, because if I do, it makes me lose my train of thought. I'm so glad you're here, though. I was at a loss about what I was going to talk about this morning. I was thinking to myself, okay, I really don't know what I want to say. And there were a couple things I wanted to say. And I thought, well, I've said that before. You guys are going to get sick of it. So this week I had 3 separate things that happened to me that were what I would say, God putting this on my heart, that this is something that you need to talk about. I had one person call me this week who was having a little bit of conflict with somebody that she worked with, and she wanted my advice on how to handle it. And then I had someone who sent me a private message on Instagram because I was not posting some of her photos, and she wanted to know why. Oh my God, I was so glad that she sent me this message. So my point is, and then I had one other thing where I had a meeting with a bunch of people this weekend, and everybody, hold on a minute, y'all, I'm trying to take my coat off. Everybody was not on the same page. And it was because of the communication problem. It's because they had not communicated to each other what each other wanted or what each other needed or even what each other expected. So what happens is we get in this part where we assume things. And I'm going to give you several examples. I'm going to give you one example that is, let's just say, for instance, that you are at a grooming competition. One of the top groomers is walking in the ring with her Cocker Spaniel or whatever she has that she's grooming. And you go, oh my God, I absolutely love what you do. Can you tell me maybe how you bevel those feet? Well, she kind of gives you this look of dismay or whatever and says, I really don't have time right now. And she walks into the ring. Well, you assume that she doesn't want to give you her information. You assume that she's being not very nice because she didn't take a moment to talk to you. You make assumptions about why she did not stop what she was doing and give you that information, because you did. You complimented her before she went in the ring. So by all means, you were very nice to start with, but she did not facilitate what you wanted. And you assume it's because it's the type of person that she is, or you assume it's because she's not a very nice person, or you assume that it has something to do with you, that she doesn't like you, or that she's worried that if she gives you that information, that you're going to beat her later in the ring. You make all kinds of assumptions. And the truth could just be that if you've ever competed before, you know that right before you go in the ring, you are stressed to the max. You need to get in there and get set up so that you can comb the rest of that dog out. You don't have the time at that moment. You are not in the mindset at that moment to teach somebody or to show anybody anything. So a lot of times it has to do with your timing. I see this a lot in grooming shops where one groomer says the boss is favoring another girl because she asked her to help her with so-and-so, and she went over and helped her. And I asked her to help, and she said she couldn't, or she didn't acknowledge it, or whatever the case may be. A lot of times it doesn't have to do with you and her. That's not what it's about. It's about that the girl that asked her to help with the dog asked her at a time that she was free and available and could help. You ask her to show you something when she has 4 dogs left for the day. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the last 2 that she's had on the table are fighting her tooth and nail, and she is exasperated at that point. She's not in the right mindset, 1, to show you anything. 2, she doesn't have the time. Your timing is wrong. So don't assume that she likes the other girl better, or don't assume that she wants the other girl to succeed because she didn't help you with that. And a lot of times, what we need to do is we need to verbally say those things. Let's say, for instance, that we've got somebody that we think is doing or saying things that are hurtful to us. And we think that, okay, so they're not my friend anymore. Or whatever the case may be. Go to that person. Be adults. We're not in high school, kids. This is not high school. You guys are running businesses. You're trying to make living being groomers. You are professionals. We're not kids. We're not in high school. We don't need to be running around going, she said, he said, and so therefore this is true. We need to go straight to the source. If you have a problem with someone, or you assume that somebody has a problem with you, go to them. Go to them and say, listen, I'm concerned. I feel like that maybe I've said something that has offended you, and I have needed you to help me with this. And when I've asked, you've not been available to me. I need to know if there's an issue here, or I need to know what I need to do better so that I know that you'll have time to help me. And that person may just come across and say, oh my God, I never intended to make you feel that way. When you asked me to help that day, I was knee deep in Cocker Spaniels and I knew that I could not. Or I was stressed to the max because taxes have to be in tomorrow. I am so sorry. Let's set up a time that you and I can sit down and I can help you with this. Guys, we need to be verbal about that. We don't need to assume, okay? Something else I want to say about that too is that we need to let everybody else know what we're thinking so we're all on the same page. What ends up happening when we have conflicts with people is because they expect one thing out of us, we expect one thing out of them, and those two things don't end up jiving because this person, I'm expecting this out of them and they don't perform that well, or they don't give me all that I want, and then they're expecting this out of me and I'm not doing exactly what they want. So if everything is said out loud and verbally done, and we don't assume they know that I want them to clean the tub after every dog, or I want them to sweep the floor after every dog, and every time you turn around and look, there's 3 inches of hair on the floor because they didn't sweep. And what does that do? That doesn't do anything but make you angry. And you assume that they know that they need to be sweeping up that hair. And then what happens is it builds and it builds and it builds. And before long, you've got an attitude. When all you had to do in the very beginning, the first time the hair was on the floor, you had to say, Janine, I'd like for us to sweep up after every dog. It's just something we do around here. It really keeps it clean. So if you don't mind, if we could do that, that'd be great. And then if you see that Janine is in a tight, okay, and she's got 2 dogs back to back, then what you do is you walk in between those 2 dogs while she's frantically trying to do whatever it is, and you sweep it up for her, okay? Because then you become a team. So guys, we need to take and say what we mean what we say, and we need to quit assuming. We need to quit assuming. All right, another thing that I have seen a lot of, and Paul and I talked about this morning, and I don't know where I even want to go with this by saying anything of this, but I've noticed a lot of things about bullying on Facebook and stuff like that. And I've also talked to groomers who have said, such and such doesn't like me. And I go, well, how do you know she doesn't like you? And they go, well, so-and-so told me. Guys, don't let that be the basis of what makes and breaks relationships and what makes and breaks you talking to people because somebody else said something about you. Go to the source, guys. Like Amy just said, face-to-face communication, okay? If they said something bad about you, you think, or you have been told, walk up to them and say, hey guys, I want to know, do you and I have an issue? Is there something that I don't know about that I need to know about? Because if you don't do that, then what does it do? It becomes a thorn. And then before it comes later, you're going to say to somebody else, well, Mary Alice told so-and-so that she doesn't really like me. So you started spreading rumors about somebody that may not have never ever said anything about not liking you. What they may have very well said was in joking and said, oh my God, I absolutely love the way she does Bichon's. I was going to say the word beach, but anyhow, I better not say that because, I don't like to cuss. But anyhow, but made some joking remark about how I love the way she does Bichon's. I wish she'd die. Joking because you don't want her in the ring with you. Making a joke about it. Not actually wishing she would die. But somebody took that the wrong way. And so then they tell her that. Guys, go to the source. Don't let these things fester up. All right, and one other thing I want to say is that when people are doing things online, Facebook is notorious for it, is that people have a tendency to comment because you're hidden behind the screen and you can say whatever you want. And there are a lot of young groomers out there that are doing demos and stuff like that don't have the experience of some of the seasoned groomers. I understand that. And I know that some of the seasoned groomers watch their videos and go, oh, they are screwing that foot up, something terrible. That's not the way that you should do it. And then there are people that actually say that. They put it in the news feed. You did it wrong. You don't know what you're doing. You shouldn't be showing anybody. When in actuality, guys, what you should do is you should if you know better how to do it and you are qualified. And that's another thing. Some people think they're qualified for all kinds of things and we're not qualified for all kinds of things, okay? Just because that's the way you do it doesn't mean it's right. If it's not breed standard and you've not won in the ring with it, or you're not showing Bichons, or you're not showing Cocker Spaniels, or you're not the top groomer with the Cocker Spaniels, who says that you're qualified to tell anybody how they should do that? But my point is that let's just say, for instance, that you are the top Bichon groomer and you watch somebody's video and you see that they're not doing the feet the way that they should. Well, there is a perfect opportunity for you to send them a private message and say, oh my God, I love the way you did the head. It was wonderful. But let me tell you a little trick that I learned early on that changed the way that I do Bichon feet. And I think you might get something out of this. What did you just do? You just changed the course of that little girl, or whoever it is, little girl, young woman's life about how she's going to do Bichon feet. Okay? Nobody took the time to do that before. All of a sudden, you've become a major hero, and you didn't bash her. You fixed it, guys. You fixed it. So if you see things that are not going right, don't stand there and on Facebook start writing all this nonsense down, because all that is fuel the fire, because then everybody jumps on that wagon. Again, it's like a train wreck. So face-to-face communication, sending them a private message, or when you see them at the next show, if you go to a show, say, listen, I got a little tip for you that I think would really help. I love what you're doing, so forth and so on. But guys, don't assume. Don't always assume that's the way that it is. Don't assume that somebody's mad at you just because they were dashing off to the ring with their dog and they didn't acknowledge you on the way by. Don't assume that. They may be just stressed to the max. If you've ever competed, you know how that is. Guys, don't assume that your employees or that the people that you work with know exactly what you expect out of them. Don't assume that. Tell them. Let them know what it is. And that's the same with family, guys. You know, if you've got a project going on or something, Thanksgiving, for instance. Let's just take Thanksgiving. My sister always brings mashed potatoes, the best mashed potatoes in the entire world. But I don't assume that she's going to bring them every year. I always ask, are you bringing mashed potatoes? Because what happens if I assume that this year she's bringing the mashed potatoes and she decided that she wanted to do something else, then now we don't have mashed potatoes. So then she gets here and I'm all ticked off because she didn't bring mashed potatoes because I love them so much. So guys, don't assume. Face-to-face is the way to go. Want to let you guys know that in about 2 weeks, we are going to be in California. If you are anywhere in California, be sure to come and see us. I was trying to read what she said, because you're stressed to the max. That's exactly right. Sometimes because you think that it's just because you are stressed to the max. So just set your mind at ease and ask them. That's exactly right. All you got to do is ask. And just because you asked one time, guys, doesn't mean that you shouldn't ask again. Okay? So if you ask one time and you didn't get anything out of that, maybe it was your timing. Maybe it was their timing. Maybe they are too swamped to reply to you at this point. Don't fire back at them and go, well, I've already texted you twice and you've not answered me, so I guess you don't want to talk to me. Don't do that. You know, the little thing that I had today with the person about the photos is they've sent me some wonderful photos, and you guys know how much I love to share your photos on Instagram. By the way, if you tag Bardels in them, I usually get notification. I don't see them all, but I get notification, and when I do get notification, I go ahead and hit that share button. Sometimes I don't get a chance to comment, but I do put them into my stories. But I've done this before where I've had a photograph that somebody has sent me. I hit it, and it doesn't have the option for me to share it. Sometimes it has to do with their privacy settings, and sometimes it has to do with that I'm a company and their privacy settings are set that they won't allow companies to share their photo. But anyhow, I hit it and it won't share. So if I screenshot it and share it, then I've had people say, look, you shared my photo and I didn't give you permission to share that photo. So anyway, so it's kind of tricky. So the conversation today with her was, she wondered why I hadn't shared. She came to me, she asked me why. Because it was evidently bothering her that I had not shared her photos, because she had been so kind and so sweet to send those photos to us. And then here I am not sharing them. Well, and it wasn't that I didn't want to, it was that it wouldn't allow me to. So I explained to her that. So now we're good, guys. And not that we weren't good before, that's not what I mean, but I hope she's at ease. And now I know that she does want me to share them, so I won't be hesitant to screenshot them and share them. So it's about communication, guys. It's about talking things out. It's about letting people know how you really feel, and a lot of times why you feel that way. So guys, don't assume anything this next week. Next week, you're going to say everything that you want to say, kindly, sweetly. You're not going to be ugly about it, and you're going to see that your week's going to run so much smoother. It's the same thing, and I'm going to quit in just a minute, guys. It's the same thing with your clients. Don't assume they want the ears whacked off. You're going to ask them, do they want the ears whacked off? Don't assume they want a particular type of cut. Be sure that you ask them what they want. So you don't make those assumptions. All right, guys, I do want to say this. If you go to Lindsay Dickens' Facebook page, she did a live on a Bichon head. I'm thinking it was yesterday. I'm not positive. And oh my gosh, it was so wonderful. It was so eye-opening, guys. You need to go and see that. It was a Bichon that was not at all cut like a Bichon, and we all have had those come in. The other thing that I struggled with so much when I was grooming was trying to actually shape those ears in. I so much wanted to leave them long ears and not make them blend with the head. Lindsay showed you exactly how to do that in that video on yesterday. So you guys need to pop on over to Lindsay Dickens' page and see that. That will help you guys so much. All right, guys. See you in Pasadena next. After that, I'll see you in Atlanta. Thank you, and everybody this week, no assumptions needed. Bye, guys.